Welcome to Local is Lekker, where we look for local businesses with a lekker story. Today we are visiting Leon at Equator, the belt factory.
Hi, my name is Leon and I'm from Equator, the belt factory. Today we're going to take you on a little bit of a tour of our business where we make belts and tell you about our sustainability journey as a manufacturer in KZN. We started in 2001 as a much smaller business than we are now, and basically over the years we've grown every year, and that's really down to as we've been able to attract talent to our business and as people have taught us about the industry and about their craftsmanship, and due to customers that have stayed loyal to us. So we're very grateful for that. This is our fourth premises, so obviously because we started off very small, we had small premises not far from here down the road in 2001, and over the years as we've grown we've obviously had to expand and move to bigger facilities, and this facility we moved to in 2018, 2 years ago, but the planning started 3 years ago, and we at that stage basically decided that if we were going to invest in a bigger facility, in a modern manufacturing plant, that there was no way to do it except to become a sustainable business. When you embark on a sustainability journey, you can either just be a green building or a green facility, but sustainability, true sustainability, goes beyond that. It is the building and how you operate in that building from a sustainability and environmental point of view, but it's also what your product is made of, the economics around manufacturing and the social impact of your product and of your manufacturing. So we decided not just to be a green building, but to be increasingly a sustainable business. And that has so many elements to it that it's a long journey, but you have to start somewhere. And we decided that since we were investing in 2017 in a new building, or an old building but purpose fit to our needs, that we needed to have a certifiable claim. And so we worked with the Green Building Council of South Africa, and we recently achieved our 5-star rating. So we're the first existing industrial building in the fashion supply chain in South Africa to be 5-star rated. And so we're very proud of that achievement, but we couldn't have done it without all the staff being on board and all the interventions and the hard work that goes into energy use and waste management. So we'll go through the details of that later. But a green building is about the materials you use and about natural light and about LED lighting and VOC-free paints and sustainable carpeting and ceiling boards, etc., double glazing. But it's also, as you operate the factory, it's your continued energy use and management of waste. And so when you put all of those things together, you can, as an industrial building, achieve a 4 or 5-star rating. In fact, you can get a 6-star rating, which is an international leadership. But we're very happy with our 5-star rating. And now our focus moves to increasingly to the raw materials we use and how sustainably they are sourced, manufactured. Where we can, we use local raw materials, but that's not always possible. So where we import them, we work with suppliers that are equally working on sustainable raw materials. And the final element of the mix is packaging and logistics. So can we use less packaging, or can we use better packaging choices in terms of distribution of those products? So unlike a Green Star rated office building, for example, which doesn't take into account the tenant or how they operate, it's purely based on how the building is built and the interventions. An industrial facility to achieve a 5-star sustainability rating is about the building as such and the things you did to the building, but it takes into account energy use and waste management. And so at Equator we've got quite a sophisticated waste stream management system. So for example, we still have stuff going to landfill, even though we've halved that in the last year, and in the next year we'll halve it again. We sort by plastic and bottles and cans, which gets collected by a recycler. We've got e-waste, which is all our electronic goods or old computers, which get responsibly managed by an e-waste company. And this is where the people element of the business is so crucial, because without the staff understanding what we're trying to do with sustainability and buying into it, we could never have achieved this. So really our staff have done a tremendous job. And we use a consultancy called Equator Consultants in Cape Town, who specialize in sustainability journeys for companies. And they come twice a year and train our staff on waste management, energy use, and our daily habits in terms of how we make better sustainable decisions. For a big building like this, one of the energy users is electrical lighting. So first of all, we replaced all our lights when we refit the building with LED lighting. But we've also got daylight harvesting, which is skylights. So for example, on a bright day like today, the whole warehouse area can operate without the electrical lights being on, and purely on natural light coming through the skylights. While we're on the subject of lighting, many parts of the building that are low frequency use, we have sensors, so the lights only go on when there's activity in that area. So I'll show you, for example, here. The lights go on when there's activity and they go off when there's no activity. When I tell people that we manufacture belts, they're always surprised that that's even a business, and that we need to occupy a facility of this size. But we manufacture for many brands and many retail partners, and that takes a lot of work, from sourcing the materials to designing the belt at a specific price. So that keeps our team very busy, and we'll have a look at our development area later. But as with any product, there's always a lot more that goes into it than you know when you're not in that industry. Just like with sustainability, when we started, we had no clue how all-encompassing it was. I actually thought it was just solar panels and some green JoJo tanks, and that's almost the least of it. So once you get into it and you understand waste and efficiencies and raw materials and sustainable sourcing, the social impact of sustainability, it's like a hobby. You get more and more engrossed in it, and after some time you think to yourself, you know, how did I ever do without this knowledge, or how could I have been an unsustainable or non-sustainable manufacturing facility? So we're very excited about that. When we moved here, we, for the first time in our growth history, had the chance to basically plan with a clean slate. Prior to that, we grew piecemeal and hodgepodge. So here we had an opportunity to really plan for efficiencies and how we use our space and the layout of our machines, and we used lean management consultants to help us with flow of product through the factory. Obviously, being a belt business, we do use leather, which we believe is a natural and sustainable material. It's sourced responsibly. But we also use other fabrications. For example, we use a recycled leather, which I'm wearing today, which is a very strong material, which we get from Europe, and it's got sustainable certifications. And it's a really great product because it's durable, it really lasts a long time. It looks good, and it's made with recycled leather. So while we try and buy as much leather locally as possible, cowhide, the local market can't supply us with all the varieties that we need. So India is a source of leather for us. And they don't slaughter cows, they use water buffalo, and those hides come to us in this size. But the tanneries in India have really improved enormously in the last 10 years and give us great value. In comparison to the water buffalo hide that I showed you from India, this is a cow hide from a local source. So you can see it's a double butt. Bigger. So when you buy leather in India, they sell it in square feet. If you're buying it from Europe, they sell it in decimeters. But for example, a leather hide will be, let's say, 10 feet, and you use about 0.8 of a foot to make a belt. And so you'll get 12 to 14 belts out of a hide. like that, and it comes packed on pallets sent by ship. So this is where it all starts, with design, sourcing materials, costing, putting together the different ideas before it goes to the sample room. So that's Michelle, who designs for us and costs. So obviously for us to get orders, we need to constantly be sampling, showing new designs, new ideas, new fabrications. So our sampling department here is like a mini factory. It's got most of the machines that we'd use in small scale production, and this is where Goodman and Jezreel make samples all day. They basically never stop. So this is a layered belt where you take 2 or 3 types of material and you laminate them together. So Goodman, being the main sample man, is probably the most multi-skilled guy in the factory, because he has to use every machine when he makes the samples, and he's got to be very fast because he's got to fine-tune machines all day to suit the sample that he's making at the time. So leather doesn't come with a perfectly square edge, so before we cut it into straps we have to straighten the one edge. So we would take the hide and cut a straight edge on it, so that when it goes into production, that's the start, and they get straight straps from that. So here's Lucky using a guillotine to square off some edges. So this is for formal belts, like you would wear to work or to church or to weddings or interviews. So this is Spinello, who cuts our straps. So that's the start of the production process. So it requires some maths. He's got to work out visually from the hide whether it's going to produce small, medium, large, extra large straps. And you can see he's recording there. He's got to keep track that he doesn't make too many smalls, and gets the size curve in. As you can see, Spinello is wearing a metal glove on his left hand, and that is to protect his hand. If it was to get to the blade, it wouldn't cut. The metal glove protects him. So obviously on a belt there's various ways that you can embellish it. One of them is an embossed pattern. In this case it's just straight lines. And you can see it's quite a simple operation. But you could have a pattern on that roller, or any embellishment. So leather and synthetic leathers and the recycled leather are really great for embossing logos or patterns on. And here we're embossing a logo on what will be a loop of a belt. So there's your logo, and then we would make the loop. So here Malibongwe and Brian are belt punchers. So the machine gets set to a certain size, small, medium, large, extra large. You put in the knife for the tip you want, the type of holes you want, the buckle attachment, and as you can see there in the middle, at the same time it stamps the back of the belt with the size and the brand. So for the edge of the belts, there's a variety of things we do, very different treatments. Some you leave plain because you want a rough edge. Some you stain the same color as the belt. And others you actually put on almost like a paste substance to give it a sophisticated finish. So this is called edge staining. So this is where we're edge staining the belt with a different kind of edge stains that we saw earlier. And basically it takes a while to dry. So that tower, we call it, is a drying tunnel which the belts slowly move through, and by the time they get out on the other side they are dry. Here we use hot air to take off the ends of the thread. Okay, so here Nelly packs the belts by size in packs of 10. So I don't know how many hundreds a day she does, but it's a lot. So we've got different ways that our customers want us to supply them. So this is bulk packing, where we would do a lot of one style in one go, and the ladies put on the swing tickets and pack by size according to the customer's needs. So this is Beryl, who's in charge of outbound logistics. Isn't normally expected to be pumping the pallet up, but gets involved everywhere. So here's Beryl at her desk planning all our outbound shipments. She's got lots of deadlines to fill and coordinate all the DC requirements. So Longani manages our waste stream. Any spare leathers or small overruns, offcuts or defective material goes into one of the waste streams. Either it gets donated to an NGO that teaches hand skills, or it gets sold to hawkers who make leather crafts. We've got guys who make shoes with our offcuts. And that takes quite a lot of management, and Longani is responsible for that. We also, in terms of our Green Star rating, have to measure the amount of waste that we repurpose versus send to landfill, and he's responsible for managing that process. So here we're in the product development department, which starts about 18 months before the season. So we're working on summer next year, for example, at the moment. And we have a library of buckles. We have buckle suppliers all over the world. We have some local ones. And that's one of the elements that goes into designing belt and costing. So apart from manufacturing for other brands and for retail partners, what's called white label, we've also got some of our own brands. And in fact, during lockdown, we launched 2 for our online store. And one of them is called My Lekker Belt, which it's just, the story is that whenever people come here, plumbers or suppliers, and they realize we make belts, they invariably show me their belt and they say, oh, this is my Lekker Belt, I've had it for 10 or 15 years. And increasingly, like Holger, your channel is called Lekker Stories. We think local is lekker, and it's such a uniquely South African word. So our My Lekker Belt range is made with South African raw materials. It's made here, and we believe it's the perfect everyday, everyman belt to sell on our website. Our other brand is number 19, and there my dad really was my inspiration. So in the 60s, 70s and 80s, he was a vegetable farmer, and he, together with other vegetable farmers, they had a cooperative on the south coast, and they supplied vegetables into the co-op. I used to work there in my school holidays, and his number was number 19, so that really was our inspiration. And we also launched that in lockdown because we were 19 years old as a company. I mean, the number 19 won't be forgotten for a long time for other reasons, but and we did a whole lot of vegetable farming during lockdown, and in that period I realized how hard vegetable farmers and many other people work, what we call invisible workers, like frontline workers and healthcare workers and farmers. So number 19 really was to honor those people, and in memory of my dad's many years supplying under number 19. So here we are in our online fulfillment center. So this is where we have belts hanging by size, by style. And when we have an online order to fulfill, then the picking and packing team come here with a picking list, and they pick and pack and dispatch. So these small artisanal brands of ours are available on our website or our e-commerce store, thebeltshop.co.za. So here's our 5-star rated Green Building Council of South Africa plaque, which we're very proud of, and which we unveiled last week. Yeah, so Holger, thanks very much for coming to do a tour. I think if you want to read more about our sustainability journey, and as we go on that journey and the interventions, you can check how we're doing on our website, equator.group. Thank you.